Hello, I'm Muhammad Abu Bakr Siddiq, and I'm a fellow student of IIT Madras. I'm pursuing BS in data science, and I'm also a teen entrepreneur and a blog writer, a financial blog writer. And ever since I was a kid, I've been fascinated by artificial intelligence, and I'm here to share with you the aspects of artificial intelligence that have fascinated me from the very start, the philosophy and mathematics behind artificial intelligence. Okay, now I'd like to start with a quote by Albert Einstein. Actually, it's artificial intelligence is no match for natural stupidity. Now that's a very ironic quote as well, and rather iconic one. And I'll actually leave it open to interpretation. It can be interpreted in many ways, but I'll leave it open to interpretation. Now I'd like to present you with a situation. Okay, and okay, it's 11 p.m. on a Saturday night, and you're having fun. It's a Saturday night. All of a sudden, you realize that week 11 assignment is due today. Graded assignment. We've all been there. We've all been there. And what do? You only got 59 minutes. What do? Well, I'm going to put a pin on that, and I'm going to mathematically try and quantify your emotions at that time. Here's a simple Python program I wrote. It's quite simple actually. If if the time is below the due date and you submitted it, you're happy. Else, you're sad, right? And these are the two possible outputs. I've just created artificial intelligence, have I? It's not actually as simple as that. Artificial intelligence is a program that tries to mimic the human brain, meaning it actually does not function when it's explicitly programmed. It doesn't need to be explicitly programmed, right? So the thought process in your brain looks more like this. That is not Chennai in peak traffic, that is the neurochemical interactions in your brain. And yes, that looks very clumsy, but this is not a result of 1 or 2 days of work. This is a result of millions of years of evolution, and to mathematically quantify this into a 15 line of Python code doesn't really make sense. So which is why we need artificial intelligence, meaning we need to create a program that is able to do this without being explicitly programmed, because explicitly programming this would take, well, it's not really practical, is it? So okay, as I said, it's a tool that tries to mimic the human brain, meaning it doesn't need to be explicitly programmed, and the main concepts of AI are these three, or the human brain according to Alan Turing are these three: language, decision making, and emotions. Now to actually understand what Alan Turing means by this, let's have a look at his life, right? Alan Turing is widely regarded as the father of AI. He is a British mathematician that helped Britain win World War II against Germany by decrypting the Lorenz cipher, right? So the Lorenz cipher is at that time it was one of the most advanced ciphers, and it was used by German soldiers to transmit messages between themselves, right? And it was at that time only decrypted using Enigma, which was in control of the Germans. And what he did was he created an algorithm that was able to decrypt the Lorenz cipher and thus intercept German soldiers' messages. And well, he is a war hero now. And he also created the Turing machine, which is the most advanced and yet simplest form of mathematical modeling we have regarding modern computers, right? It works on the concept of binary and states, and right now it is the most advanced model we have until now. And he also created the Turing test. It is one of the most sophisticated yet simple tests, and it is used even today to gauge an AI's intelligence. How does this actually gauge it? Right, Alan Turing says this one thing, right? He says if an AI is able to make normal human conversation, it is intelligent. Sounds very simple at the start, doesn't it? I mean, you've got Alexa, which you can make a normal conversation with, So have we solved the Turing test and created the most powerful AI? No. Ask Alexa what the weather is. It will tell you the weather is 32 Fahrenheit Celsius, south of 8 knots, wind of 8 knots south. A human does not say this. And as long as we don't have an AI that can make normal conversation, that I mean Alexa can't really make human conversation. It can talk, but simply because it has the ability to talk doesn't make it intelligent. Star Wars reference, but okay, I'll tell you how the Turing test works. The Turing test, again, it is used to measure an AI model's ability to make basic conversation, and it basically works on the premise that given a judge and participant and a couple of participants, the judge makes text conversations with the participants, and if one of the participants is replaced by a computer, the judge should not be able to tell that it's an AI, that they should be able to still assume that it's a human. This is what the Turing test entails, right? And Turing was actually very optimistic with this test, and he believed that by the year 2000, with 100 megabytes of memory, computers will be able to pass the Turing test. Well, we've all failed them. It's a very disappointing story, but there it is. But why is the Turing test hard? Why do computers struggle to do the Turing test? Three reasons. The Turing test tests language, decision making, and emotions, right? Now, human language is a concept that has evolved over millions of years. We went from drawing on walls like this to writing text, efficient text that uses lines and curves. Now, this is an extremely complex process that has again evolved over millions of years, and even scientists today don't understand how we understand language, but we understand language, right? And language also forms the basis of human decision making. Now, you may think, AI can actually make decisions, right? Not really, no, because humans are okay. I'll talk about the concept of instinct, where humans are able to make instinctive decisions, right? With minimal data, humans are able to just in a nick of time they're able to make decisions. This can't be done by an AI, because an AI needs a lot of data to make a simple decision, whereas humans can make a major decision using very less data. This is not been emulated by AI again. Thus, it's an inefficient decision maker, failing the Turing test again. The third one, now this is more of a philosophical concept than a scientific debate, right? Emotions, right? If an AI cannot communicate emotions, then it automatically fails the Turing test. Let's get back to the weather example. When I ask you the weather, what would you say? You wouldn't say it's 32 degrees Celsius and the wind direction or whatever. You would say it feels hot, it feels cold. In Chennai's case, it feels hot. And so you would say it feels hot, feels being the word of emphasis, and this cannot be emulated by an AI, not until now, because an AI, how do we let an AI feel anything? Because feelings are purely hormonal until now. As of our understanding, feelings are a result of, again, biochemical interactions in our brain, the cluster I showed you. Now, how do we get an AI to emulate this? So, as long as an AI cannot pass these three tests, which is making basic human conversation, it means that the AI does not pass the Turing test with sufficient results. Now, this proves many points, right? One, AI is still in its infancy, and we can give the example of Alexa's Amazon's Alexa, but it is completely data driven, meaning it is using our decisions to make decisions. That's not instinct, that is just basic understanding. And this would be a good summary for the talk. AI has not become powerful enough to understand language. It can emulate language, it can talk, but it cannot understand language. It cannot make decisions on its own as of now. It uses extensive amounts of data to make decisions, which is extremely inefficient, and it also cannot inherently express emotions yet. That's a scary sentence, but yes. Thank you. That'll be the end of my time. Thank you. Feel free to ask any questions.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, so the main thing I'm confused about artificial intelligence. Okay, mathematics we are learning from the course,
Hmm?
Michelin Foundation, and like okay, you have given some information.
Yeah.
How how you can explain intuitively that information this AI machine is dealing processing?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm unable to understand your question.
How the AI machine, whatever you are constructing, how in what steps it is processing?
Okay. As of now, this would explain. Let me do explain the types of AI. We've got unsupervised learning. We've got supervised learning, and these are the major types of AI. Unsupervised learning is given raw data. You just throw data at it, and it tries to link this data. It tries to find similarities between this data. Whereas supervised learning is when you tell it, okay, I want this particular result, find me the result. So these are the this is the premise of how AI functions. So unsupervised learning would be you would give it, for example, let's say I want to find the relationship between car prices and fuel prices. I give it two tables. That the one of them has car prices, one of them has fuel prices, and it tries to find the relationship between the car price and the fuel price. And you mentioned you were in a foundation, and you would have learned the correlation concept, right? It uses that to find the correlation between the two data. Whereas in supervised learning, you ask it to find a particular thing. Like for example, you ask it to find the relationship between there's a very common data set. Actually, it is the most famous data set. It's called the census data from 1960 to 1980. This is the US census data. It is one of the biggest data sets in the world, and you ask it to find the relationship between the income and the age of the data set. Now what it does is it tries to link the let's say it takes the two columns, and it tries to link the data between the age and the income status. Now this is a very basic regression problem, but I'm assuming the question you're asking is how it does it. It does it using, for example, in regression it does it using finding the correlation, and there's also other types of AI calculation like classification, right? Where the for example,
Like huge errors may come.
yeah, I mean, yes. Actually, one of the main concepts of AI is the loss rate, and there's actually many algorithms to calculate the loss rate even. So yes, it is like us. So it's trying to emulate what we are doing, right? You make a few errors, I make a few errors, it also makes a few errors. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Hello?
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, so what would happen if an AI on purpose fails the Turing test?
That has not happened yet, and that is a that's quite a hard question, because it means it has outsmarted the Turing test. First, let's focus on solving the Turing test, and then let's focus on failing it, because we need to solve it to know how to fail it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's first let's create software that can solve the Turing test. Only beyond that will we be able to make AI that can fail it on its own. But if it does that, it's over smarted the Turing test, which is very not an ideal situation, I'll tell you. Again, up for philosophical debate.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
Do you feel maybe AI can predict the results accurately like us? But do you feel that can
Mm-hmm.
it ever get a consciousness?
Mm, yes, yes. If
Can.
it's trying to emulate what we're doing, yes, eventually it'll take a long time, but
So you feel that it will get consciousness?
yes,
It can.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Over time with data, it might get some consciousness, you mean, I guess. Yeah, right?
Yeah. If it gets access to enough data, it will be able to because see, if it get, yeah, it'll be able to gain consciousness. We cannot rule out the concept, right? Because 10 years ago people were saying AI cannot read. Now AI reads everything we send, the email we send, everything it can read. So it's a constantly evolving process and an exponentially evolving process. As AI becomes better, it becomes even better. So
So now in future, poets will not be there, artists will not be there because everything is done by a better artist. It will be better poet.
not really, because how do I put this? That is a very human thing, right? You wouldn't want to watch a movie directed by an AI, would you? You wouldn't want to play a game that is made by an AI. You would want to play it, maybe you're curious, but those things of art, it's very hard to be replaced by AI, because it involves a lot of imagination.
Recently, I've seen an article like in IIT Patna,
Hmm.
able to create one code AI which can create poems in Indian languages.
Yeah, yeah. So those things, yes, but it's again, like I said, it uses the millions of poems created before this to create that poem. So that's like you're giving someone every single, you're giving a human every single poem there is, and they create a poem with that. That's not really original. You need an AI that is capable of imagining that on its own. That's what I said. AI has not reached that point yet.
As of now.
As
So
of
in
now, yeah.
future,
Maybe we see, we cannot rule out anything. Anything can happen in the future.
Hello, Siddiq. Shall I ask one?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Siddiq, correct me if I'm wrong. Like I heard it is something like if a machine should get into your market, you should pass all these three tests you have mentioned, like emotions and then decision making and the first one.
No, because getting into market, we can use the AI that we have today. No, to truly express inherent intelligence, this is much beyond getting the market, right? Because getting the market is actually very easy. We have AI on the market. For example, and the biggest example will be Microsoft Azure's chatbots or AWS's chatbots. These are all AI that are working on the market right now. So these don't they probably clear the Turing test, but again not with satisfactory results, because it's very important, right? You can actually wait one second. I believe one of these articles talk about this, actually, how there have been AIs that have solved the Turing test, but not with satisfactory results. So getting to market is actually very easy with an AI. There has been many AIs, but these don't express inherent intelligence, not as of now. Yeah.
sir, one more general doubt for me.
Hmm.
Like people are telling China is a little forward than far forward than even America also, India, of course, in artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
I heard we formed one committee. I heard like 10 years back on artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
A scientist committee includes IITs also included.
Yeah.
There it does not require much machinery or investment like that. Why you lag behind? We lagged behind in AI also. It is just a software type of work where we have a lot of manpower.
um the concept of AI revolves around the procurement of data. That is the biggest headache right now, and cleaning of data as well. So both of these, yes, like you said, they require manpower, but they also require lots of funding. Like if you want to realize, something that can clear the Turing test, for example, that would require an astronomical amount of funding, because you need to create an AI that does not depend on data, which is, well, we need to first procure enough data to make an AI like that. So yeah, that's the inherent problem with AI, the data cleaning and data procurement make up 80% of developing an AI. The remaining 20% of work is done by the computer even. it learns from this procured data, but that 80% has to be done by humans, which it requires funding, manpower, and machinery as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
You clarified. Talking with you is equal to studying 80 pages in 2 minutes. That's nice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Let's thank.
Oh, 1 second. He has a question.
Yeah, please.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Perhaps when we reach the day where AI gets consciousness,
Uh-huh.
the person standing opposite will become AI.
Um.
So kind of a multiverse.
Well.
And we will get confused who is human being and who is AI.
See, here's the thing, right? The tough situations like this actually have led to human evolution. For example, in I believe 1931, when Ford Motor Company came up with the first Ford car, people were furious because chariots, they just started murdering horses and stuff, and because they were not needed anymore, they only needed cars. So, but then now today, I'm assuming you came here by car or bike, right? Yeah, bike. Yeah. So this, if that had not happened, had we thought that okay, this is taking humans jobs or this is making humans dumber, we would not have achieved a point today where you are able to come here by bike or car, right? So these tough situations like this, historically humans have always evolved over this. So there's an AI, right? A human will always be above the AI. This will always happen because we think that AIs can outsmart us, but again, we are the concept of AI is it uses the data that humans have procured and produced. So we will always be 2 steps ahead of them. And when we are able to integrate the again, if we have control of the tool, which it's actually like a black box right now, we don't understand how it works, so we need to definitely control the growth of AI. You cannot grow very fastly, but if we nail it correctly, humans will always stay 2 steps ahead. We'll be good. That's it.
After the program, how can I reach you, sir? Will you be providing email IDs of you?
Yeah, here it is.
Please provide, sir.
Yeah, sure. Wait, I hope you can see my slide, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there it is.
Where, sir? That is 22F.
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.